am having so much fun answering the questions that have come in from the Q&A series. I'm continuing the Q&A series to answer some more questions that have come in from my listeners. The question I'm answering today is, I am a stay-at-home mom of 3 living in Texas in a one-income household with my husband as the sole breadwinner. I feel the Holy Spirit tug to use my gift of fashion and styling and my retail industry experience to start a personal styling business. I don't have the money to register an LLC right now. How do I start my business legally? Oh my, that is such an awesome question. Stay tuned as I answer this question in today's episode. I have a review from O.OJ on Apple Podcast. O.OJ titled her review, Impactful Stories. O.OJ writes, rejection for a Christian is divine redirection. Love it. Truly words of encouragement, words to constantly remember in the journey of life. Thank you. Thank you so much, O.OJ, for your encouraging review. If this podcast has inspired or encouraged you, please leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts so that this podcast can reach more people. Scroll to the bottom of my podcast page where you're listening to this episode. You will see the ratings and reviews section. Locate and click on the Write a Review purple link. Enter a title for your review. Click on the 5-star icon. Type your written review for this podcast and click on Submit, and you are done. Thank you so much in advance for leaving me a review. Let's dive into today's episode. Hey sis, welcome to the Start That Business podcast, where you will find practical solutions that empower you to start your service-based business. I'm your host, Chichi Ukomadu, an entrepreneur, wife, mom of 3, and a Jesus follower. 10 years ago, I was afraid of giving up my desire to build a corporate career and say yes to the Holy Spirit's nudge to start that business. I believe personal fulfillment comes from letting go of your way and saying yes to God's way so you can become all you were created to be. If you're ready to find personal fulfillment, grab a cup of coffee, tea, or hot cocoa, and your favorite snack. It's time to take your first step to start that business. You know the one I'm talking about? Yes, that one you've been putting up for a long time. Before I answer this question, I would like to put a disclaimer out there that I am not a lawyer. I'm not a legal professional. So please seek legal counsel. Don't take my answer to this question as legal advice. Please seek legal counsel. Now, having said that, I can totally relate to this question. As a matter of fact, when I started my service-based business, my first business, which was a service-based business, I was a mom of 3. I was actually a mom of 2.5 because I was pregnant with my 3rd child when I started my business. And I live in Texas. I wasn't working at that time, so I was in a single income family too, and my husband was the sole breadwinner. So I can totally relate to where you are because me too, I too have been there when I started my business. So registering an LLC in Texas costs about $325. I don't know what it costs in other states. In the US, I don't know what it costs in other countries. So an LLC will be the equivalent of a limited liability company in other countries. So I don't know what it costs to register. And if you use a lawyer to register the LLC, you'll be paying anywhere from $500 up to $650 because what most lawyers do when they're creating an LLC for you, they create an operating agreement, which is good to have when you're establishing a new company. An operating agreement simply says who owns the company. Do you own it 100%, or do you have other people that own it? And what are their rights? How would the business operate? The operating agreement states that legally. So most lawyers, when they're registering an LLC for you, they will add the operating agreement, and they will also help you file for an EIN. An EIN is an employer identification number, and that is gotten from the IRS, and also including their legal fees. So if you go with a lawyer to try to register an LLC, you'll be paying anywhere from $500 to up to $650. So I understand where you're coming from, because I have been there. So based on my experience and my story, here's how you can start your business legally if you don't have the money to register your LLC yet. The first thing I will suggest is to ask your family or friends to loan you the money to register your LLC. So that is an option. So if you have family and friends that can loan you, maybe if you're registering it by yourself, $325, or if you want to use a lawyer and get everything else that comes with registering a business, then you're looking at a loan of about $650. So you can collect that from a family and friend, and you can ask them for an extended repayment period so that you can pay them over time when you start the business and you start getting customers and you start making sales or making revenue. The reason I said family and friends is if you go get a credit card, you are in a single income household, so finances might be a bit tight, and you've not started the business yet, you're not making any revenue yet, so you don't want to start incurring debt from that onset. But with family and friends, they can be more lenient in the loan that they offer you. The second thing I suggest that you can do, if the first one is not an option, is to register a DBA with your county. Now, when you register a DBA, it means DBA stands for doing business as. With a DBA, you're pretty much starting as a sole proprietor, and there's no liability protection on your business, meaning if you start and someone sues you, they will come for your personal assets because you don't have any liability protection. That is part of the reason of going with an LLC, because it gives you the liability protection on your personal property. But again, if you go with a DBA in your county, most DBAs in the Texas counties cost anywhere from $15 to maybe $35. So that is way more affordable. And you can start with the DBA, and once you make enough money, once you start the business and make enough money to cover the cost of an LLC, then you go right ahead and register the LLC. So that is another way you can start legally. Start with a DBA, then once you make the money, you register your LLC immediately. The third way that you can also start is to register a DBA under an existing LLC. And this is what I did when I started mine. For example, if your spouse already has a business and an LLC that is relatable to your business or the business you want to start, you can register your new business as a DBA under the existing LLC. Then once you start making business on the new business, you can transfer that DBA to your own LLC when you eventually register it. And keep in mind that you will need an attorney to help you do this transfer. This is how I started when I started my service business, because my husband was already consulting. He already had an LLC. So I registered my DBA under his LLC, and that was how I got started. When I made enough money to now register my own, I transferred that DBA to a new LLC and I carried on. But I did it with the help of a lawyer. All right, let me recap real quick. How can you start your business legally if you don't have the money to register an LLC? The first thing you can do is to ask your family or friends to loan you the money you need to register your LLC and give you an extended repayment period. The second thing is to register a DBA with your county. The third is to register a DBA under an existing LLC. Again, please seek legal counsel. Don't take this answer, my answer to this question, as legal advice. Seek legal counsel, and I wish you all the best as you start your business. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on today's episode. I hope my answer was helpful to you. I hope you learned something new and you were encouraged. If you have a specific business question like the one I just answered, please go to startthatbusinesspodcast.com and send me your question. Please share this episode with someone who is looking to start a service-based business or someone who just started so they can get the help they need. Keep listening for more exciting episodes. I will meet you here next week. Hey sis, before you go, if this podcast has encouraged you, helped you, inspired you, or taught you something new, please head over to Apple Podcasts and search for Start That Business Podcast and leave me a written review. That's one of the ways I know this podcast is impacting your life. Thank you so much. I'll also love to connect with you on Instagram. My handle is @ChichiUkomadu. Until next time, always remember you have all you need to start that business. I'll see you soon.